Here we are at our final project for Design and Development 2, and we are in Canvas. This will be a shorter video. We have already looked at this course. For the most part, we've walked through most of the main elements. I'm not going to go in full detail since we did have the other video. I'm going to try to keep it a little shorter for you today. I will go through and highlight the changes that have been made and basically what elements have been changed and any improvements that have occurred. So we're back at our home page in Canvas, and this is for my economics course. We have kept our original layout of the home page. We've taken out the individual lessons. This was a difficult decision here. I do have students that do struggle in going through the modules. So we are in the modules. I do have some students that have difficulty. One thing I wish we could do within Canvas is maybe color code certain lessons out of this outline form. I do try to make it easy for them by putting a heading in here, what unit is, lesson, etc. And then each lesson also has a stop on it as well. The changes that were made were on the homepage, we got rid of the individual lesson links to take you throughout the lesson. It was something I played with, trying to see if that would make it easier for students. Still undecided on that, but for a design standpoint, definitely the homepage is much cleaner, a much cleaner look without the links in there. So for our design, that is very good. The unit I focused on here was our Unit 2, Microeconomics. So if we go there, this is our first page. I'm zoomed in. So all my units start with our basic standards, etc. Nothing's changed here. Our video resources and reading resources. These are supplementary materials for our students. So here's the original pretest for the unit. It's included the videos. We've walked through this resource prior, so I'm not going to waste your time in going through it today. For the pretest, this is the first quarter that I have utilized that particular pretest with the videos included. It was interesting, not a single student actually watched the videos. They just guessed. What's interesting, economics is things that the students already know. The biggest thing is getting familiar with the vocabulary, it's big logic puzzles. And if they can think through the logic puzzles, they'll probably get the correct answer, even if they don't know the terms involved. So the pretest I always find interesting. Average scores are around 60%. Some students rush through and just randomly guess. So here is our layout in modules, our outline form. Items that were changed is for lesson 1, I have added lesson check. These are short after the material that we've covered today, basically what your takeaways are. So in this case, being that this is a lesson check, a lot of introductory vocabulary in this one, the key terms that we went through that lesson, aligning it with the definitions, using some of the numbers and charts, reinforce the shape of the demand curve. Is it downward sloping, upward sloping, horizontal, vertical, etc. So just checking for understanding from the day's lesson. And again, this is at the end of the day, they finished the lesson, just reinforcing, going back over the materials. Sometimes we do it as a group. So when the price of something increases, the quantity demanded, that's what. Okay, so again, very straightforward, using graphs and showing shifts, using real-world scenarios. A bike shop lowers the price of bikes. People are buying more bikes. What does that affect? Is it creating a shift, or is it creating a change in quantity demanded, etc.? Lesson 1 is actually a multi-day lesson. We typically cover in 2, possibly 3 days, depends on how deep we get into conversations. That is the great thing with economics. We can actually talk about real world scenarios. We can often get off topic, but if it's reinforcing and helping students visualize and learn the material, best practices. Lesson 1 is on demand. Lesson 2 is on supply. It's riddled with Google Docs, riddled with Google Slides as worksheets. Worksheets are Edpuzzles, which are videos with questions instilled in them. We walked through this last time. The big changes again were home pages. Some of the order and sequence have been altered. We are at the end of lesson 2. Lesson 2 is rather short. Lesson 3, there was a change in lesson 3 for our review slides. Our notes have remained the same. This is a live in-person presentation. I do include the presentation for students who are absent. In the future, I do plan to record these and make those videos recording available as well. But obviously the in-class lecture is the best part because we can often go off on real-world scenarios. This is a video with a Google Doc worksheet attached to it. Great thing with Google Docs is they do link directly into Canvas. When students go in, each Google Doc has their name attached to it, makes it real easy for grading. Same thing here with the Great Toilet Paper Panic, talking about fake news and supply and demand. This is a review element. Area that was suggested was changing the colors on I can statements. Looking through, I did try the different colors, played around with that a little bit. It was a little too visually confusing with different colors. We did try different tonalities, different shades of blue, and in the end we wound up with alternating lights and darks just to give a little comparative contrast. Sorry about the resolution going here. So here's the I can statements. Those were the ones that were specifically mentioned. And each unit or each item can be pulled up one at a time or as a group. Same thing, I did the same thing with the vocabulary. And then the rest of the slides, we have kept the same with a lighter background to give that contrast. We did play with try to play with a lighter background with the earlier slides, and it just was a little too difficult to make that happen. But it seems to be working fine with these slides. Again, we can go back to the main menu, view slides. And each of these links will take us to each of the individual slides for the review. So here we are at the end of lesson 3. Lesson 4, nothing was changed. We have Edpuzzles, types of business, cost of production, etc., and then review. Although the elements have remained the same, we have a review unit here, a question like they might see on the test, or a scenario. This is something we typically do as a class. There's 36 questions. So we typically spend a day going through this, working with the students, getting familiar with diagrams, making the connections, what they're seeing in the graph with what may have happened within the market to cause the change in supply and demand. So reviewing chapter 5 on supply, this is all available for my students. There is a traditional study guide, there are scenarios and graphing practices, there's quizzes, Quizlet, and Kahoots for them to practice on. I find with the number of absentee students that we have, having these available to them when they're at home is a great advantage. We also have some sheets here talking about determinants. I believe we looked at those in the previous video. And then the unit ends with an exam. So students get 2 attempts. It's from each topic is from the bank of questions. So no student is taking the exact same test, although it is the same material. Okay, and I think that brings us to the end of today's review. Thank you for your time and have a great day.